This is the Lamborghini Revuelto, which is the 5th generation of the V12 supercar from Lamborghini, and Lamborghini likes to call it as a high performance electrified vehicle because this one is a hybrid. Yes, Lambo has now gone eco-friendly. However, this car shares a lot with the Aventador. In fact, this is longer, wider, taller, has a longer wheelbase and heavier when compared to the Aventador, but it does share a lot. In fact, the A pillar, the B pillar and everything inside in terms of the pillars are shared with the Aventador. That's the reason the width remains more or less the same as before. Straight away, let's open the trunk, and there is a switch somewhere here. Yeah, there it is. Oh my goodness, this is super duper light because obviously made of carbon fiber, which you can see right now. This is a very usable trunk. They actually call it a trunk, although it's a front because it's a front trunk. And here you get a lot of stuff. For starter, this is a Lambo and it's an Italian car, which means you need to wear gloves to operate the charging cable. Just kidding. 12-volt charging socket. There's a light placement here. This is the charging port, AC charging only, and the charging cable is placed here, which obviously has the Lamborghini badge on it as well, because you're paying so much for a car now, so you would care about all that. Here there is a nice pouch which actually has the car cover, and the warning triangle is placed right below here. Okay, it's a bit messy because I put stuff inside. Now this is so damn light now that you have to really apply some effort to close it. This is not closed, but this will not open also. Why? So that when you're charging the car, you can keep it open like this and nobody can do anything. I mean, nobody can steal stuff. So to push it, and now it shuts. Now it's, yeah, obviously it's shut. The beautiful Lamborghini logo. This is the number plate. See the aggressive design. In fact, you can see these huge openings. That's for the radiator. For the air conditioning, you get 4 parking sensors at the front. No self park here. Now there's the Y-shaped element here throughout the car actually. So the Y-shaped DRLs, which are actually very bright at night. This also turns into the indicator, the main light. This is the low beam, this is the high beam, and sort of a pilot lamp here. However, you need to understand one thing. There's no welcome animation in this car, which is a bit disappointing because Lamborghini is owned by Audi, and Audi obviously does a lot of play with lights. The indicator is functioning here as well. In fact, I'm a bit disappointed with the key because it doesn't look any much different from an Audi car. Unlock the car, lock the car, and this to open the front of the vehicle. The front will not open right now. You know why? Because the car is actually on. Yes, this car is on. It's super silent. What's happening to the world? Now you obviously get a camera there for lane keep assist. There's obviously a rain sensor as well. And where are the radars? Well, there are the radars. Yes, there are 2 of them, one on either side. You can see the LED DRL. The design is actually very aggressive. The car looks phenomenal in person. It just looks so damn lovely, especially with the scissor doors up. These are actually made of aluminium. Meanwhile, the wheels are crazy. It comes with 20 and 21 inch wheels. However, these are optional bigger wheels, 21 and 22 staggered tire setup. What's the size of the tires? It will blow your mind because the profile is super low. 265/30/21 at the front. Meanwhile, it gets this orange colored brake calipers. Now this is a 410 mm disc, carbon ceramic. Obviously, it even says that carbon ceramic in Italian, I think. And this gets 10 piston monoblock calipers. Yes, 10 piston aluminium monoblock calipers, which is crazy. It says made in Germany right here. The Y-shaped treatment has been carried forward to the alloys as well. The alloy wheel design is nice. Everything is open so that the brakes can obviously breathe better. I love the way the door has been done because that's a very Lambo thing here. So there's a light here just to tell people that, you know, the door is open, sort of a warning light. And this treatment, which is a typical Lambo treatment, that's also there almost everywhere. Let me roll up the window so that I can close the door. Doesn't take much effort as such, and there it closes. Lot of aero vents. Yeah, that is obviously functional just to ensure that the downforce of the car is phenomenal. That's the reason they've actually redesigned the roof so that it pushes air from here to the rear wing. So that's one of the major changes which have happened. And this is obviously the radiator for the engine so that the engine can breathe better. Yeah, that has changed. See the aggressive cuts and creases. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So air flows in from here as well and flows out from here. So for better aero efficiency, they have done a lot. In terms of length, it is slightly more than 4.9 meters. The wheelbase is almost 2.8 meters and the ground clearance is obviously very low. However, the lifting function is obviously there in this car, without which you will not be able to drive only because it's like really very low. It says Revuelto right here. The rear tire size is obviously bigger, 355, and the tire profile is so low now, it's just 25. So 355, 25, 22. 390 mm carbon ceramic disc at the rear, and it has a 4-piston monoblock caliper. Meanwhile, you can see the orange colored brake caliper, which looks super duper awesome because it matches the color of the car, obviously. Yeah, it's a work of art. This is, I think, just a reflector. Doesn't work as such. Coming to the rear, it is less bulky when compared to the Aventador. I don't know why, but yeah, the design is awesome. This is the reverse light. This is actually the rear fog lamp. You get 4 parking sensors at the rear. This is the camera, and it has got 4 exhausts, 2 on either side. In fact, it says caution high temperature, and it says it in Chinese as well because obviously China is a big market for Lamborghini. The rear spoiler can be adjusted in multiple ways. So there are 3 settings for it. Right now it is on the bar mode. I don't know why they call it the bar mode. Probably so that you can have your drinks by putting it on the rear spoiler. That said, the diffuser treatment is like really crazy. Look at that. It's super duper aggressive. This is the reflector treatment. Obviously, look at the size of the tires from here. Isn't that too massive? Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. Y-shaped tail lamps as well. Again, no dynamic function here. Does not even have the welcome or goodbye animation. And then this is also open so that air can flow freely on the inside. The engine is exposed. Yes, there is no cover here. Very much like a Bugatti. It says Lamborghini right there on both the sides, and it also tells you the firing order of the V12, which is not the same as the Aventador. They have gone back to what it was earlier with the earlier V12 supercars. So again, a work of art, the design. This car attracts a lot of attention. Now, getting in and out in the Aventador was very difficult. This one is slightly easy, but still difficult because they have reduced the size of the sill. How did they manage? Well, they have now used forged carbon, which is stronger, which means this can be smaller and yet give you the stability as well. Look at this treatment here. It tells you the tire pressure recommendation right here. It also tells you that this car is manufactured by Lamborghini. Oh my god, I never knew that. And that is obviously the strut for this particular scissor door. It's lovely. This is to turn off the alarm. And the seats are really nice. However, you get the Y-shaped treatment here as well. And that hexagonal treatment, which dates back to Lamborghini's past, is also used in good measure almost everywhere. Just to tell people, you know what, this is a Lambo. Again, Y shape here. This is where fuel goes in. So this is capless, and it tells you that you have to put a minimum of 95 octane, which is not a problem in these days, even if you're driving the car in India. What an interior. Absolutely lovely. In fact, the seats are new, much more comfortable. And the length has increased by around 84 mm actually, not centimeters. 84 mm bigger cabin. Headroom has improved by 26 mm. So yes, the cabin is slightly bigger, making it more comfortable. Here are obviously the controls to adjust your seat, because electric adjust obviously. They have also revised the way the pedals have been done. So thankfully it doesn't feel as bad as the Aventador, because in the Aventador now it was really troublesome. When you're accelerating, you're almost applying the brakes as well. So that's something which has been resolved now. And the electric parking brake is placed here. These are the controls for the headlights, actually light controls, because this is for the rear fog light. And let's step inside, which requires some acrobatics, because if you are tall now, you have to make sure that your leg goes below this first, otherwise it's going to hit here. Let's shut the door, and it shuts with a reassuring thud. The dashboard looks awesome. They have put so many buttons on the steering wheel, which is crazy. Thankfully, it does not have touch sensitive buttons like in Ferrari cars. So even though it has so many buttons, I'm okay with that. This is obviously auto dimming. This is the sun visor, which has a mirror. There is no light, obviously. Light controls here on the top. This has got connected car tech. It has got Amazon Alexa. It has got what 3 words as well. So yeah, a Lamborghini which is so freaking loaded. Now this is a 9.1 inch screen, which has got some information, mainly what is the drive mode, what is the speed of the car, and you can change this display here. The glove box is decent size, which has a place to keep your stuff. This is actually the key cover, I believe. And if I show you, okay, that's a high visibility jacket. If I show you the manual, it will blow your mind. Everything is very high quality, but look at this. There's a lot you need to read. This is so damn big. It's huge. It's, I think, 400 pages. I've dropped a lot of things like the registration card as well as the Salik. We'll put this back later. Now, you might notice there are no cup holders. So how do you have a drink? Because there are no cup holders here. Very simple. You press this like this, and this is taken from a Porsche for sure, because Porsche has something very similar. So yeah, cup holders pop out from here. Isn't that cool as well? So that's very useful. a supercar which is also usable on a daily basis. That's nice. And what's interesting is that if you're eco-friendly, you can opt for something known as Corsa Tex fabric, which is eco-friendly, not leather. This is not the Corsa Tex fabric. And the seats are like really awesome. Lambo logo here. In fact, there's some storage space here as well, so you can put stuff behind too, but you can move the seat ahead and then you can put stuff there. In fact, there's also a hook right here, and that is the glorious engine, which you can see from the IRVM as well, because rear visibility isn't that great. Which brings me to this screen. Firstly, it says Lamborghini on the top. Do you like the dashboard or not? I like the dual tone treatment. I think this dashboard is like huge in terms of size. And you've got option of 70 colors for the interior, 400 colors for the exterior. In fact, the engine also has a light which illuminates because there's a high mounted stop lamp right ahead. So when you apply brakes, you can obviously see the engine in red, which is quite nice. I like the screen. The passenger screen is nice and simple, but how do you control the air vents? You have to do it from inside here, obviously. Now let's quickly talk about the steering. It gets the flat bottom treatment, it gets the Italian colors, it gets this red on the top, carbon fiber finishing, lot of buttons. What do the buttons do? This is for voice commands. This is to decide how you want to do the EV mode. So you have to decide if you want to be in recharge, hybrid or performance from here. So right now it's in EV mode. It says EV right there, which means that the car is going to be off. You can't hear a thing. 10 kilometers of EV range is what it shows right now. This is to decide how you want the aerodynamics, minimum, maximum. So this is something which alters that. So here when I press a button, I can change that as well. Active aero not available right now because I think we are in EV mode. And these are the controls for the wipers. So this is to actually deploy the spoiler. So if I press this button and there it will say bar mode closing. So that's the rear spoiler which has closed right now. This is the view button by which I can change the way I want to see the cluster, and there are multiple views here obviously, and using this I can decide what I want to see here. So there are a lot of things you can browse through, like G-force meter. It tells you what's the tire pressure. It also shows you how the power has been channeled in with this particular meter, and yeah, that's kind of smooth and nice. Meanwhile, here you've got a lot of buttons. Now this is for the drive mode. You can browse through whether you want to be in city or whatever, and if you press this button, you come into launch control. This is to raise the right height of the vehicle, and by moving this around, you can change the damping, from soft to hard. So that's simple, but the turn indicators are here as buttons, which is not the best to use. And this is obviously for the light, if you want it to be automatic headlight or if you want to flash a person coming ahead. This thing is coming from the VW group. Obviously, this happens to be for the cruise control, but I'm a bit disappointed that the steering wheel has to be adjusted manually. No electric adjust here, so it's a manual adjust right there. And just look at the pedals. Again, they also get the Y-shaped treatment. They do not move along with the steering wheel, but they are big. Now, this is a 12.3 inch screen. How do you browse through what is there on this particular thing? Behind this, there are buttons which are not the easiest to use because they feel a bit fumbly, but you can get into multiple information menus from here and change stuff like this. Yeah, this is actually easy to do. Lot of stuff to browse through. In fact, behind this also there are buttons. Like right here, there are buttons which is for the volume control and to go ahead or behind the track. Which brings me to this particular screen. What is style? Well, when you press this, it will show you the design of the car. It's kind of weird how it works, but yeah, I come into dynamics here. Now what I can do is I can push stuff from here. So I just press it twice, and then this thing comes here. Yeah, that's so cool. I can press it like this, and then that thing goes there. So you can just swipe things from here to there, but you can notice this is a fingerprint magnet. In fact, it always says Revuelto. Revuelto is written here. It is engraved in the screen so that you cannot use the screen for any other car, but you get a lot of information you can pass from here to there. Let's come out from here into the main menu. So you can get into navigation, media, phone app, radio settings and connect, and into the climate menu. When I press it, it's a bit cumbersome to use, plainly because if I want to increase the fan speed, I have to press this button and then I have to alter it. So it's another step there. So that's a bit cumbersome to use. Let's just shut the air conditioning, come out of this menu. It has got, once again, when I come into climate, didn't turn off, but it has got seat heating, not ventilation obviously. So I want to just turn off the air conditioning. Air conditioning has been turned off. Come into vehicle, wherein you can browse through a few things. You can open the trunk from here. You can get into the parking cameras and sensors. So this is the reverse parking camera. You see Revuelto is written here. It has got adaptive guidelines. Obviously 360-degree parking camera is an option here. Front and rear parking sensor, something you can see right here. Let me turn this off, and let's come into the dynamics thing, which I've already shown you. You can pass things from here and there, including G-force meter and whatnot. Now let me quickly come into the climate menu again, because there's a seat setting here which lets me alter the seat heating. So here we go. Now this is how you decide where you want the airflow to happen, because the vents cannot be controlled manually, so they cannot be moved. You have to do it through this screen only. That's about it. Otherwise it's just not possible to do it. And you can come here and you can make changes to the language, to the measurements, to the GPS and all those things. In order to change the volume, you have to do it like this. So this is not the best. Yeah, this is a bit cumbersome to use, but the speakers are decent. Audio quality is obviously nice. Says Lamborghini here in gloss black, so as many places they can put Lamborghini, they have done that, because that's the kind of branding Lambo does, obviously, which is quite nice. I just wish there were buttons here to alter the seat heating. Meanwhile, you press this button to open the door, and then you have to push it upwards to open the door, obviously, and there it shows you that the door is open as well. The controls for the power windows has this nice bridge to it. I don't know why. This is the control for the outside rear view mirror adjustment. Again, very much similar to what we see in Audi cars. So Audi parts have obviously landed here. In fact, we have the bridge here as well. So this is to open the fuel lid. This is to turn on the hazard. And in order to turn on the car, you lift this and press this button. This is the gear selector. To get into reverse, you just pull. This is for parking. This is to come into manual mode. And if you want to drive, you just click on the paddle and then you are driving. I mean, you're into first gear, obviously. There's a wireless charging pad here. 2 USB-C charging sockets. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto work both wirelessly as well as wired, obviously, but the screen is a bit small, and then you can notice that it's become a fingerprint magnet. See, the style thing is so funky. So right now it's in city mode now, so it's not showing me. Notice this. Okay, as soon as I turn this, see how the engine fires up. Okay, all of a sudden the engine fires up with so much enthusiasm. It says only E mode is possible while engine warming up. So yeah, it will not get into the other modes, even though when you try to get into Strada, Sport or Corsa, it simply does not do that. Let's press parking here. The navigation somehow does not work. When I open the navigation, it does not exactly show me where I am. So yeah, it says location unknown. I kind of feel like Batman right now. So here, when I press vehicle, it actually goes ahead and shows me how the design element has been done, and then it's going to keep changing it, showing me front, side and rear. So that's something which the designer has intentionally put, saying, you know, we have worked really hard and you need to see all this. By the way, this car has got 6 airbags. Knee airbag is optional. In fact, 360-degree parking camera, that is also optional here. But there is no heads-up display. I guess that should be optional as well. And if you notice one thing, it has this Lambo sort of logo here, because this is PPF. Obviously, I love the way the mirrors have been done, which are far away from the body. Everything, the design element and all, just so damn awesome, including the way the AC vents have been done. And you can see a lot of Alcantara here. So it's splashed in Alcantara. Notice the aggressive treatment of the seats, which is quite crazy. And the key has a place, because you can just slot it here so that the key does not move around at all. What is this? Do you guys have any idea? Oh yes, it is to roll down the window. That's kind of crazy. I pulled this, the window rolled down. That's something which is needed probably if the mechanism of the power window does not work. So that's kind of cool and weird as well. I never expected that. By the way, the screen shows Revuelto with a nice animation when you turn on the car first thing, and then obviously it has a goodbye animation in both the screens. Here also it shows the beautiful Revuelto logo, and the car comes here and spins and all that also happens. Let's quickly shut the car, and there you can see it gives you a summary. Not really, it's not giving me a summary. It says function not available, vehicle is switched off. Let's open the door and exit the car. There, I was talking about this on both the screens. In fact, the seat also moves slightly ahead and behind, and getting out is slightly better when compared to before. So yeah, some improvements in terms of the ergonomics of this car. By the way, the exhaust has been moved. Earlier it was somewhere here in the Aventador. Now it is up, which is really very hot, so you have to be bit careful. Not bit, very careful. Oh god, the wind is blowing, a lot of sand and dust everywhere. See the aggressive aero treatment. Let's turn off the car. Let's try and roll down the windows. In fact, there the car is turned off, and there the windows are obviously rolling down, because that's something which has kind of become a basic feature. But this is all about the driving experience. So let's go. All right, it's time to start driving. Let's turn on the car. Seat moves ahead. It also reclines a bit. It's in city mode, or rather EV mode right now. Let's turn off the air conditioning. And now straight away, I'm going to change the drive mode. We are going to come into Corsa drive mode. Oh, full power up of the engine. We are going to come into performance for the electric motor as well. And without much ado, I'm straight away going to come into thrust mode. There we come to drive. Thrust mode possible. Hold the brake, fully press the accelerator and pedal. Revving the motor till almost 4,500 RPM, and off we go. Absolutely bonkers. The acceleration is mind-blowing, yeah. Oh my god, insane the speed at which the gear shifts happen, the speed at which the car takes off, unfreaking believable, blows your mind completely. The kind of performance is mind-blowing, yeah. What a car, what unbelievable. So I don't even know it went how much time from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. It says 2.66 seconds, which isn't far from Lambo's time at all. Now we are going to do this again. So we are going to come into this other cluster mode. Let me come into the menu here, into dynamics, and let's get into thrust mode. Thrust mode temporary unavailable, which is kind of surprising considering I'm in the right mode. So we come to the thrust mode later. Let's come into the city drive mode right now, which is the EV only mode. Car is turned off and off we go. Look at the silence with which it operates. It's absolutely crazy, yaar. Can't believe that I'm driving a Lambo which is this quiet. So it gives me almost 10 kilometers of all EV range, all electric range, which is amazing. So this car goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.5 seconds. We did 2.66 seconds, which isn't bad at all. 0 to 200 kilometers per hour in around 6.6 seconds, which is crazy quick. And 0 to 300 kilometers per hour in 15.3 seconds. Top speed of 350 kilometers per hour. So the nose lift function, it only works till 80 kilometers per hour, after which the nose lift will be dropped immediately, because that's how they have configured it. And this EV only mode works till 120 kilometers per hour, post which it will tell that the internal combustion engine, the thermal engine, is kicking in. Obviously performance isn't that great right now because we are in EV only mode, so that's something which is expected. But trust me on this, the way the technology has been done in this car is absolutely mind-blowing. So the internal combustion engine, which is 6.5 liter V12, it is the lightest and most powerful engine from Lamborghini ever. It weighs 18 or 17 kgs lesser when compared to what is there in the Aventador. It weighs 218 kgs. Why does it weigh lesser? Simply because there is no generator or inverter needed here because of the electric motor taking care of all that. The starter also is taken care by the electric motor. It's kind of weird how the electric motor sounds. Yeah, the electric motor sound is a bit weird because obviously it has this typical whine here. Now we are going to come into Corsa mode and let's see if we can get to the thrust zone, the launch control, hybrid powertrain into performance. And let me keep this button pressed. I don't think it's going to come. Oh, thrust mode possible. Let's change this cluster mode. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Left to 4,500 RPM and off we go. Absolutely bonkers. The kind of speed it does is mind-blowing. The brakes are... I'm full on the brakes, okay? The brakes are not that great because of the weight of the car. Yeah, you step hard onto the brakes, you realize there's a lot of weight, so it's heavier when compared to the Aventador. So this engine produces 814 horsepower and the torque output is 725 Newton meters. The electric motor produces 187 horsepower and 82 Newton meters of torque. So the combined output happens to be 1001 horsepower and 807 Newton meters of torque. So how does that even work? For starters, I'm going to change this to recharge right now so that the battery gets recharged. We are going to come into the sport drive mode, or rather we are going to come into the street drive mode. So performance actually changes depending on the drive mode. So output numbers are 874 horsepower in street, which is Strada. When you come into sport, it becomes 895 and full 1001 horsepower when you come into Corsa, which is the track drive mode. So there are 3 electric motors, 2 on the front axle, because of which they were able to put torque vectoring, and that's one of the major reasons why this car corners beautifully well. So the whole system has been done phenomenally well. How do they manage everything? Well, I'll tell you, it's all very techy. What they have done is they have replaced the gearbox, the 7-speed single clutch gearbox, with a 8-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox, something which the Aventador definitely deserves since day one only, because trust me on this, the gearbox was slow and it used to give that massive jerk under heavy acceleration. Now you could feel every gear shift. Off we go. The worst of roads, even on these low profile tires, ride is actually quite good. I can change the dampers from soft too hard. Yeah, I can change the damping from here. The aero bits can be altered as well. When you go above 80 kilometers per hour, the rear wing automatically deploys. When you brake hard, the rear wing will again deploy to ensure that you have good stability as well. So yeah, like I was telling you, they have worked a lot on a lot of things here. And what they have done is they have actually developed an all-new engine. How is that even possible? The displacement is the same, 6498 cc. Well, Lamborghini says this is an all-new engine. It has nothing to do with the engine in the Aventador, but they like the displacement. They're comfortable with the displacement, so they decided we'll keep the same displacement of 6.5 liters. It's a V12. It's naturally aspirated. There are no turbochargers here at all, so there is no asthma here. It's pure NA power. But what do the electric motors do? 3 of them. So 2 on the front axle. Each electric motor is making around 148 horsepower. That does not mean that the electric motor is giving 450 horsepower, because there's a limitation of how much output together they can provide. What these electric motors do is they give you a nice push lower end before the internal combustion engine has completely woken up and gone in its full glory, so that it's like a handover from the EV to the ICE. The battery has already given good amount of performance and takeoff velocity, thereby giving this car absolutely unbelievable performance. This car is so good to drive. Firstly, the steering is light. I expected slightly more weight. Okay, there's a dust storm happening right now. We just stop here. Brakes are making some squeaky sound because I think a lot of the sand has gone into the brakes. Okay, and off we go very comfortably. Let the battery charge. Okay, so basically this engine is known as the L545. The Aventador's engine was known as the L539, and they're saying there's nothing in common with the Aventador's engine because this is an all-new engine and blah blah blah. It's kind of hard to believe with the exact same displacement, but then I'll take Lamborghini's word for it. This engine isn't as raw, as old school like the Aventador's, because the Aventador's engine feels raw and absolutely loud somehow, and I think there's a big dust storm ahead as well, so we're just going to take a U-turn from here. Steering is super duper light. It has got rear wheel steering, which makes it effortless to make U-turns here or anywhere for that matter, and the tires have a lot of grip. So the Aventador actually had a 7-speed single clutch gearbox which was positioned here, so the engine was right behind, and then from the gearbox it could power the front axle very comfortably, and then there was a way to transfer the power to the rear differential as well. That's how it used to work. So there was no space as such for a dual clutch automatic gearbox. However, here what they have done is they have changed things completely. For starters, the gearbox has gone from the center, it's gone all the way to the rear. So the engine has been flipped 180 degrees and the battery is placed somewhere here. It's a 3.8 kilowatt hour battery pack, which takes approximately half an hour to charge using a 7 kilowatt AC charger, only AC charging. There's no DC, because with DC there will be the need of a DC power inverter, which will add to the weight of the car. And obviously the internal combustion engine can juice up the battery in just 6 minutes. That's how fast it can juice up the battery, which is quite amazing. Look at the way it goes around the corners. It's absolutely unbelievable. It stays glued to the road. Super duper agile as well, and then making a quick U-turn is not difficult at all because the steering is super duper light here. So like I was telling you, what they did was they put the engine behind, and behind the engine they put the gearbox. Now the gearbox being longitudinally mounted means that there's no space for a diffuser, and diffuser is a very important aspect of a supercar for better aero efficiency. So what they decided is to change the position of the gearbox from a longitude to a transverse mounting, and thereby they had some space. So it became a dual clutch automatic gearbox, and beyond that what they did was they actually put an electric motor on top of the gearbox to make sure that the electric motor can assist when there is a need for performance to the rear axle. So mostly it is front wheel drive and on electric mode because of the electric motors on the front axle. And this is magical how the whole system works, because it just works flawlessly. You don't realize when the shift happens from electric, from the hybrid to the internal combustion engine purely. Now Redline comes in at 9,500 RPM, which is 700 RPM more than the Aventador. In fact, peak power comes in at approximately 9250 RPM, which is very high up. Performance is mind-blowing, but it feels too effortless to drive. You don't feel you're driving something this fast or this powerful, because everything feels like a cakewalk here. You get onto the throttle, it just moves ahead with so much effortlessness that you kind of question, what are you even driving? The dampers are hopefully on the softer setting right now, because I can feel this thing, the bad roads ahead. In fact, the ride quality has improved a lot. So the ride is good, the handling is amazing, body roll is very well contained, and because of the torque vectoring at the front axle, understeer is very well contained here. So Aventador had a mechanical all-wheel drive system. This one does not have it, because of which it just has cables and a differential and torque vectoring obviously, and somehow it's able to manage everything beautifully well. The weight distribution is 44% weight at the front and 56% weight at the rear. And just look at me go around here, okay? absolutely unbelievable the way it maintains its line. I just wish the steering had more weight here, and I just wish that the battery would charge faster, although Lamborghini claims it charges in 6 minutes. The problem is it's not always 6 minutes, because at times I'm like, oh, the battery is not charged up. That's kind of disappointing, because I can't use thrust mode, which is obviously launch control. You have to press the button to activate it. It's not like left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, like usually in cars these days. Although I'm a bit skeptical whether this car will come into thrust zone right now, but we shall try. Let's come into performance. Let's keep this button pressed. Thrust mode aborted. I didn't even abort anything. What are you talking, bro? Thrust mode possible. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. The engine is not revving only. Okay, it says aborted again. I don't know why. Thrust mode unavailable. And off we go. Absolutely insane. The performance is crazy. This car has a high compression ratio when compared to the Aventador. That also makes a huge difference. So why did they even decide to go electric or hybrid or whatever? Simply because they had to improve the fuel efficiency of this car, which is claimed at 8.6 kilometers per liter, which is approximately 30% more when compared to the Aventador, which is a huge improvement. And definitely it's a huge improvement, because now they're becoming stricter and stricter in terms of emission norms, so they had to obviously make that change as well. Now the suspension has changed dramatically. The Aventador had push rod suspension. This does not have it, because the electric motor does not leave any space only for a push rod suspension, so it's gone to a conventional semi-active suspension with coil springs, and it's got adaptive dampers. Although there are 13 settings here, you can configure up to 13 different settings when you decide the EV mode, when you decide what is the different drive mode of this car. However, there is no mode for the steering wheel or for the braking system, so they have just standardized that, said that we have given you the best setting for the steering wheel as well for the braking system, so you don't really have to worry about that. You can, oh, I can feel a bit on the front axle. Oh, the way the engine sounds is just amazing. It's not as loud as the Aventador. They had to obviously dull the sound a bit and make it more compliant, but the car feels amazing to drive. It feels so effortless to drive. It no longer feels like a Lamborghini to me, because this is something which anyone can drive now. It's just so easy and effortless to drive. Anyone can go bonkers in this car, because now it's a car which is just so damn easy. It's unbelievable how effortless a car can be. It's not hairy at all. You're not going to oversteer. You're not going to crash. It's just so beautifully engineered. In fact, the carbon tub, which they call as the mono cage or whatever, that has been altered as well. So in the front now they use forged carbon instead of aluminum, which was there in the Aventador, so it has better crash protection. And that's not all. They have now used forged carbon, which is basically using much more strength and lighter weight. That's why they have managed to reduce the weight of the car, and that's something they have really worked on, trying to curb the weight. But still the weight is more than the Aventador, because this weighs 1880 kgs. Electric motors and batteries obviously weigh something now. Naturally they will. Oh my god, what an engine. Every shift, every upshift, downshift on the throttle, everything just feels so soothing. Oh my god, what an unbelievable car. The engine is the real highlight here. It's the star of the show. The electric motors are just side actors which are there to help the engine perform, but the star is still the engine, naturally aspirated, no asthma, and it sounds like this, which is the beauty of the Revuelto. What an engine, absolutely glorious. The soundtrack is something which blows your mind, which brings me to the competitor of this car, which is the Ferrari SF90, which actually is 15 horsepower lesser, but Ferrari is the company which pioneered all this, which Lamborghini has taken some time to get to. Then there's the McLaren 750S, and off we go. Which is equally fast, but much lesser in terms of output. However, that's like almost half a ton less, 500 kgs lesser, only because that particular car is not having any electric motor. So electric motor obviously dulls the performance because of the weight. Now 3.8 kilowatt hour battery pack is small when compared to what McLaren offers or what Ferrari offers, but somehow they managed to nail it, because the agenda was never about giving people better range on electric mode. It was all about making sure that the V12 engine lives on, and it lives on, and it lives on in a very glorious fashion. Low end performance is good because the electric motor is assisting with instant torque. Mid range is nice. Top end is absolutely ballistic. The way it redlines, oh my god, it causes you goosebumps. Yeah, the gearbox is super fast with shifts. You don't realize when it makes a shift. So the gearbox is amazing. The ride is good for a supercar of this kind, and then handling is amazing as well. Obviously a bit heavy. Braking could have been better because under heavy braking now you do feel that it just doesn't stop without the ABS becoming oversensitive. So that weight which has been added because of the electric motor, that can be felt for sure, but you don't feel that when you're driving the car. It's only under heavy braking do you realize that. So when you take this car on the track, you are going to love it for the performance, because when you're entering a corner, you're like, okay, now I need that thrust. This car is ready, all ready with the electric motors, giving you the thrust and handing it over to the internal combustion engine to take it forward. And the internal combustion engine is so glorious. A V12, wow, thank you Lambo for not downsizing here. I understand you had to go electric, but this hybrid is just awesome. It's phenomenal. I love the feel of the car. I just wished the steering was a bit on the heavier side. Now this car has a 90-liter fuel tank. I don't know where they stuff 90 liters of fuel, but this car needs a 90-liter fuel tank because it does drink a lot of fuel, 4 to 5 kilometers per liter usually. Okay, it's time to put the thrust zone again. I can never get tired of using the thrust zone because the launch control is just amazing. Thrust zone possible, and off we go. Okay, now let's talk numbers. There's so many numbers, I barely managed to remember it. This car is 25% stiffer when compared to the Aventador. It is lighter by around 20% at the front because of the front subframe having been changed here. The steering is now quicker by around 10%. Yeah, 10% quicker steering wheel here. And this car has 61% better aero efficiency, 66% more downforce, 11% stiffer front anti-roll bars, 50% stiffer rear anti-roll bars. That's a lot of numbers to remember, but yes, they've taken the Aventador, which was absolutely phenomenal, and made this car so much better. So first debuted in 2023, March 2023, and the Aventador had an 11-year run, 2011 to 2022, so that was a long time for sale of the Aventador. And the price of this car is 10.5 crores on road Mumbai, which is extremely expensive. Yeah, crazy expensive this car. Let's do thrust zone, because why not? It's available, yes. Why is it not revving? Okay, it says unavailable all of a sudden. I think the gearbox would have eaten, and off we go. So 1.16 crores is the registration cost of this car for the first year, which is obviously a lot. 35 lakhs is the insurance cost of this car for the first year. Registration is first year and always only. I don't know why I'm getting confused there. Yeah, so a lot of money you have to spend on this car, and I'm just talking about the regular car without optional extras, because you can opt for a lot of interesting bits to make your car much better in many ways as well. Like I was telling you, a lot of aero bits. Now if I turn this, I can decide I want a minimum or maximum aero bits. So minimum, auto and maximum. If I press this button, I can obviously put the spoiler up. So many settings to play with, so you're never going to get bored of this car. Obviously you can never get bored because of the engine being so glorious, so fantastic, so phenomenal here. Amazing performance. What a car. In fact, I love the fact that how the brakes work, because obviously it has got regenerative braking, but the transfer from regenerative to brake pads is just very smooth here. The Revuelto is obviously named after a Spanish bull from 1880s, and that's usually the naming tradition for Lamborghinis. This car comes with 3 years unlimited kilometer warranty for the car as well as for the powertrain, and this battery weighs around 79 kgs. However, the gearbox weighs quite a lot at 193 kgs because the electric motor is obviously sprinkled on top there. So guys, this is my video of the Lamborghini Revuelto. I know it's not an easy name to pronounce. In fact, the Huracan replacement's name I cannot pronounce at all. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's a like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye.